Getting creative on the Twitch stream. Good morning. I decided to show off the doggo cam to start this morning, especially since my light is not working the way I want it to. Light. There we go. Let's fix this. So much better. So much brighter. Welcome to the Poetry Studio. This is Joseph. Walking wall poet, dog wrangler, and poet lover. Also a fantastic collector of paper. You can see now on my main camera, I am going through papers that have been piling up in various places inside my room. I'm extremely good at doing this thing where I end up having like a bunch of papers, and then I'm like, oh, I'll take care of those, and then I never end up taking care of those. Like, I just put them in a pile somewhere, and then I create a new pile of papers, and I'm like, oh, I'll take care of those, and then I never take care of those, and I put them in a pile somewhere. Then I have a new group of papers, and suddenly I have all these piles everywhere. How did they get there? I keep doing this, bring down that volume. Balanced volume. That's a little better. So, thank you for tuning in. If you are tuning in, if not, if you're watching this on a replay, thank you for that as well. Getting back into the swing of things, my goal today was to already have had set up some work on some projects, kind of get back into the role with those projects that didn't end up panning out yesterday. I was originally doing a copywriting project for a client, and that turned into a digital editing project, which I don't think I would be comfortable sharing my screen and working on that one. So that's fine. And so that one is just going to be one that I'm going to do on my own time. But as a result, I don't really have other projects that I can devote myself to at the moment. Everything is business right now. Business. Got to put up notices about doing Valentine's Day. Got to call other places and see what's going on with that. And sorting out my taxes. All wonderfully non-poetic things. I guess that's what I want to write about this morning, though. That's the great thing, of course, about being able to write, is that you write about what you feel. You write about what you're thinking, where your heart is. So, let's do some writing. Typewriter repair as well has been a very big thing in relation to the secret project. So it's just been a lot of not poetry that's been happening. And maybe that's a good prompt. The poetry of not poetry. Good morning, Fool Killer. Good to see you in the stream. I was just kind of telling the camera and the world and you about my woes of not being able to actually write as much because I've been pretty busy with a lot of not poetry projects. Better adjusted camera. Oh, it looks so good on my second screen. Bull Killer says, on the bright side, all the happenings of life equal new potential material and experience for poetry. This is extremely true. I'm expecting at a certain point the poem is going to do a turn. It hasn't called for it yet, which is weirding me out. And it might not turn. This might be one of those few times where I kind of sit inside of the despair and rest in it, which is not a thing I naturally do in my poetry. And despair is not too strong of a word for this. And sadness is too strong too. Maybe more of like the confusion. Good morning, Twitcho Alex. So good to see you. I'm getting used to a new camera angle, and so I look at my computer where my camera used to be, and I look at this, but then I realize that my camera's up there. So hi. I am writing a poem about being so busy with my with surrounding tasks other than the actual poetry that the poetry gets hard to do, which is actually often in my life. And I hope you are well. Last night's stream was a lot of fun. It was good. And I'm excited for this morning's stream. And by that, for anybody that may be tuning in that does not already know by the nature of my shirt or anything else, I'm a big fan of Meaning Wave and the meaning streams. Happened right after my stream. I'm using that because I like the word. I don't want to use that because I like the word. Thank you, Twitcher Alex, for your kind words. And yeah, it's been. I get conflicted. Like I said, I was talking to my wife about making some financial decisions, just like not really like anything big, but just making sure that we're secure in case something were to happen with all the things that are happening with the news and stuff like that. And I realized that like I spend my days really not in the perspective. Like I get caught up about like silly things really easily, and then I think about the fact about how much I have. So I am doing well. I just don't say it as much as I should sometimes, and I am doing very well. Twitcher Alex virtuously observes, I have absolutely no idea what's going on in the world news. Haven't checked up on the state of affairs since July. The only time anything ever gets through to me is when Akira or someone from the community starts talking about it in the chat. And I think that's great. I'm unfortunately a little more tuned in. I'm not trying to I'm not trying to give in to the astonishment, but I'm just trying to be prepared, if anything, in very small ways. And I have been continuing to distance myself from the news. And in fact, the past few days have been actually very calming. But I still do my morning paper just because the morning paper gives me local information. And the reason for all that, as Fool Killer rightly states, is something I heard recently that really resonated, is that anxiety has no creative power. I'm actually thinking that one through, because I don't know if I completely agree with it. Which it's got a lot of power to it. I think anxiety has the capacity to freeze creative power. I think that sometimes in some anxieties is birthed great work, but it's not always the best work. It's a lot back and forth, but part of it is that I've talked before on the show about writing to process and then writing after process, and I've seen some people writing to process, and in fact the creative power can be a salve for the anxiety. But it's like kind of one of those things that, like, if you sometimes the drama of anxiety can give, is what you need to sometimes get off your butt to get things done. In that way, I shouldn't say the word need, but can be something. So, anxiety itself, though, has no creative power. That is true. Because anxiety is just anxiety. It freezes you, it stresses you out. But what should be very duly noted is the way that creative power can respond to anxiety. Is, I think, the way that I've taken that whole thing and brought it right back around. So this poem here, music lowered and muted, is a poem about not poetry, entitled Not Poetry. And I think it's like kind of a first draft, because this one, I think I'm going to work this thing. It's a lot of good here. Full of not poetry, filing away unpoetic ledgers and calculating measures of myself. A not poet, making a business of not rhymes, unmetered features of my life. Reports without the escape of lines, side to side. Leaves of grass mown down by the sharp metal blade. Pinprick of perfectly Cartesian pen laden with trivial repetitions of business decisions. I hope this email finds you well. Lines swelling with sameness. 20 more times today. An unmetaphor way to say that we should work together. Line by line, my day writes itself across the hours, across the years, and I see the epic. The Shakespearean peering into my doubt to be a not poet is the best way to know it, that all of it relates in sound to something else. Hence the turn. And that is not poetry. And so it did end up turning near the end there. The Shakespearean peering into my doubt to be a not poet is the best way to know it, which I have never written a poem that rhymes poet with know it until today. So congratulations. It was something that I did not ever want to do, but in this way it works because it's kind of that cliche. And I think that the whole point of it is that if that, as Fool Killer said, that the everyday living can build a creative process to that feeds into poetry, that helps us write about these events. I forgot what I was doing yesterday, but I was doing a thing yesterday, and I was just like, wow, I could write a poem about this, and it was something very normal, very mundane. So I never believed for a second that the mundane cannot give rise to the creative. I just really don't want to have to do as much of the mundane right now. Sometimes the clouds get overshadowed by some dirt. I really like the line. I really am. Oh my goodness, that's going to grip me all day. The anxiety has no creative power line. Fool Killer dropped in here. It's a good one. If you guys have any other thoughts on that, I'd love to hear it, because I don't even know if my thought process on that is accurate. I'm intrigued, to say the least, because I just remember writing from anxiety. I remember being full of anxiety. Basically, probably if I said 2 years ago at this point, because I've been listening to a lot of Meaning Wave for about a year. But even earlier, a little over a year ago, I was always writing from a place of anxiety. I was anxiety ultra. And Twitcher Alex says, I think there's truth in both of those statements. I agree. Absolutely. Cool. Well, one thing I want to do, which I haven't actually done it in a while, is I think I want to bring up our friend Miss Dickinson and bring up our random Emily Dickinson poem generator and finish up the stream today with a reading. I know it's in here, the WMP other. Right? No. Oh, there we go. Display a random Emily Dickinson poem. As I bring it up on my screen. I love this random Emily Dickinson poem generator, and I don't know if you have or haven't been able to see it on the stream before. I did it a little bit when I was working on stuff over the Christmas break, which was honestly a hot mess when it comes to streams and times. So, give me a second. Oh wow, my stream is running a little slow for some reason. I don't know why that is. Interesting. Might be recovering, hopefully. There we go. I think we got it back a little bit. All right, bringing up. Oh, but I already know that one. I can't put that one. Actually, we'll just switch it over. All right. Picking a random poem in 3, 2, 1. There we go. And let me lower the music. This is poem 28 by Emily Dickinson. She went as quiet as the dew from a familiar flower. Not like the dew did she return at the accustomed hour. She dropped as softly as a star from out my summer's eve. Less skillful than La Verrière, it's sorer to believe. She went as quiet as the dew. This must be a poem about someone suddenly dying or suddenly leaving. Wow. That's pretty stark. Emily Dickinson, I realized, is savage as hell. She can really cut to the quick on something. I love this. Troubled about many things. How many times these low feet staggered, only the soldiered mouth can tell. Try, can you stir the awful rivet? Try, can you lift the haps of steel? Stroke the cool forehead hot so often. Lift, if you can, the listless hair. Handle the adamantine fingers. Never a thimble more shall wear. Buzz the dull flies on the chamber window. Brave shines the sun through the freckled pane. Fearless the cobweb swings from the ceiling. Indolent housewife in Daisy's lane. Wow, in the Daisy's lane. That is, once again, the savage, the one and only Emily Dickinson. Thank you so much for tuning in to the stream today. Thank you so much, Fool Killer and Twitch Hero Alex, for being here. It's good to see you. Today's stream was, it was good to kind of do the not poetry and to reflect on that. I think that as I get back into the rhythm of this stream will not only be an important place for me to get my work done, but also is going to be an important place to kind of crack open where the transcendent is in my life and maybe other people's lives. If people come in here with requests and needs, to be able to just use poetry to kind of crack open those emotions, to kind of create interrupts. I've skipped a little ahead on the streams for the John Vervaeke Meaning Crisis, and I've been listening to the John Vervaeke Meaning Crisis streams, and he talks a lot about the higher states of consciousness, the interrupting of the usual patterns to be able to create insights, and poetry is just that through and through and through when writing it for me. In fact, one of the things that I have sitting on my desk right now is I have a massive poem that I wrote on the street, which I'm not going to read because it's extremely personal. And a massive poem about why I was having so much trouble staying on top of my tasks and to-dos and for being productive, and why I was always falling out of zone habitation. And basically, by putting so much pressure on myself to come up with the solution, I came up with the solution through the rhymes and rhymes and rhymes. And it was basically that I was seeking, I was going very hard on discipline and not as hard on the transcendent side of things. Oh, I thought we had Max here. Okay. Good to see you all. Thank you again so much and have a wonderful day. Thank you again, Twitch Hero Alex, as well.
Where'd you find this?
Akira. He's got clout.